Gather we neath the spectral moon, friends all in a smile-warmed room. We roll the dice, we laugh, we scream, on this the night of the most hallowed ween.
Temperatures plummet, trees shuffle off summer greens and don their autumnal livery. Never does the world appear more alive, more beautiful than it does in the throes of death. And as any Halloween expert can tell you, there is no better way to usher in this, the most sinister time of year, than by ushering your friends into your house and playing season-appropriate board games with them. But which games to choose? The market is cluttered with more Halloween-themed games than there were creepy clown sightings in 2016. Do you guys remember the creepy clown craze, by the way? Weird times. Well, you have come to the right place. Not for creepy clown sightings, but for board game recommendations. In this video, I am breaking down 4 of the Halloweeniest titles I am confident will fill your evenings with frights and delights, with major caveats accompanying only one of them. And number 4 might surprise you. Actually, it probably won't. Ideally, everyone will add their personal favorite Halloween board games to the comment section down below, so between this video and the recommendations you find in the comments, you should have a pretty hefty selection of Halloween board game spice to add to your seasonal latte this year. That was an invitation to share your favorite Halloween board game in the comments. The games in this video are presented in no particular order. I like all of them quite a lot, so think of me as your mother introducing her children in no particular order because she has no favorites. Actually, don't think of me as your mother, that's weird. Let's get into this list.
Hey there, Cthulhu, down there in your sunken city. You're a billion light years distant, and the stars look very pretty from Relay. So close and yet so far away. Aye.
Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition plunges you and up to 4 friends into a scene of gothic horror in the chronically beleaguered town of Arkham, Massachusetts, and beyond. In a game of Mansions of Madness, each of you will select an investigator, then choose one of the scenarios programmed into the game's companion app. Each scenario contains a unique mystery you and your fellow investigators will work in concert with one another to unravel before it unravels you. And believe me, it will try its darndest to unravel you. Mansions of Madness is a Halloween classic, and for good reason. The gloomy opulence that saturates each of its map tiles, miniatures, character portraits, and cardboard components, combined with spectacular theatrical flourishes in the app, creates a magnificently sinister atmosphere. And the app is awesome. It tracks damage on monsters, gives instructions on monster movement, and manages tons of other logistical items hidden under the floorboards of your experience. It behaves as an extension of the physical board on the table, so you'll want everyone to be able to see it. I highly recommend bringing it up on at least a tablet, but if you can route it through your television, that's even better. The horror is not confined to the game's visual elements either. It oozes through its mechanical frameworks as well, thanks to some neat design innovations. One of my personal favorite design choices is the magic system. Spells are printed on cards, and when a player casts a spell, they flip their card over to reveal a unique effect, which is usually some kind of test or a negative thing. They resolve the effect, then exchange that copy of the spell they just cast for another with an identical front, but a totally unique back. So every time you dare to meddle in the mythos, you risk dire consequences, the nature of which you can rarely predict, and that is awesome. My second favorite design choice is insanity. That's right, you can go insane in the game. If your investigator suffers enough psychological horror, their mind will crumble. You'll draw a card from the insanity deck and secretly read it. The card will give you a hidden goal you'll need to achieve in order to win the game. You are forbidden from sharing your goal with the other players, and it can be anything from gathering all the items on the board, to setting the board on fire in the game, to stealing a spell from your companions before sacrificing one of them to an elder god. Literal chills. Mansions of Madness is pandemonium in a box. It's incredibly unfair, it's mean as sin, it's theatrical, and if you're out for a chaotic, eerie Halloween experience, look no further. Unless...
Hey there, Cthulhu, I've been studying your gospel. The Necronomicon, it gives me nightmares, something awful, where I see the death of all reality. It fills me with glee.
If Mansions of Madness sounded cool, but you want a little more control over what's happening in your life, or at least what's happening in your investigator's life, Arkham Horror the card game might be great for you. Presented in the same universe as Mansions of Madness, Arkham Horror the card game is another bag of gruesome with a cruel sense of humor, but a few crucial features set it apart from its sadistic cousin. First, Arkham Horror the card game is a campaign game. Mansions of Madness will immerse you in a single scenario you can play out in a single setting. Arkham Horror the card game provides a crucible that you and your friends will endure over multiple play sessions. There are several campaigns you can access. You can think of these as novels you and your friends will read together. They've each got their own storylines that unfold across multiple chapters, replete with twists. Second, Arkham Horror the card game is a card game. Instead of a miniature, your investigator will be represented by a deck of 30 cards that you'll be able to customize yourself. When you start a campaign, you'll choose an investigator and then build a deck of cards respecting any deck construction requirements included on the investigator's character card. As you proceed through a campaign, you'll earn experience points that you can spend to upgrade the cards in your deck. This gives you as the player much more control over who your investigator is and what kinds of skills they bring to the table than you have in Mansions of Madness. Thirdly, there is no app in Arkham Horror the card game. You'll need to read everything, track damage and status effects, and take care of all of the other overhead stuff that the app handles in Mansions of Madness on your own. Fourthly, if invited into your home, Arkham Horror the card game can be quite a demanding guest. It is one of those games that is not designed to be taken lightly. It's designed to be a hobby. Buying the revised core set, which is what you should do if you want to try it, will grant a complete experience, albeit one that makes it clear you are trying the game. It's great, but it's definitely a primer for more. Kind of like a sample set from a perfume house or a pinky toe from a cannibal. If you are unperturbed by card text, the prospect of an occasional foray into a rules reference, and the risk of succumbing to another potentially expensive hobby, Arkham Horror is an epic purveyor of thrills and chills that can occupy your table the whole of October. I'd personally recommend the Circle Undone campaign for an October adventure. It's an especially spooky jaunt, jam-packed with witches and a lot of murder. Oh, we are halfway there, and this video is turning out way longer than I thought it was gonna be. I need to go outside. I am going to go for a walk around the neighborhood or something. Here's some footage of my bearded dragon, Dickens, eating some mealworms in his Halloween costume that you can watch while I'm gone. And before you ask, he's a spider this year.
There once was a sad little goblin who had a broken broom. When he went anywhere, it would wobble in the air, and his heart would fill with gloom. He tried so hard to fix it every night, but he just couldn't get it working right.
Okay, we are back. I didn't end up making it around the block. I just sort of photosynthesized. I hope Dickens ate all the mealworms. He seemed really hungry. The next game on this list is the board gamiest of the bunch. The last two we talked about are big, mean, story-barfing machines, and spoiler alert, so's the last one in this video. This one is just a board game. You will gather your friends around your table, you'll teach them the rules, you'll play it in about an hour and a half or so, and whoever has the most points by the end of it will win. No trauma required. Say hello to... In The Hunger, you and up to 5 of your friends will each become vampires, venturing into the night to feast upon the ill-fated residents of the tiny villages nestled in the foothills below your castle. Guzzle as much gore as you can, then dash back to the castle before the sun peaks over the horizon for any vampire caught in the open when those golden rays start to fly will be grilled like a watermelon chunk. But as you feast, beware. Some villagers have made life decisions that will alter the quality of their blood. Slurp from a sot, and you will become tipsy. Ventilate the veins of a vicar, and you may end up with holy water sizzling in your digestive tract. Drink enough spicy blood, and you'll be hurtling for the nearest well for relief. Also, every pint of blood you imbibe weighs you down, so when the sky grays with the first signs of morning and you turn homeward, you won't be as nimble as you were in your hungry days. This game brings this to life through deck building. Each player starts with a deck of cards that represents their vampire's fleshy tabernacle, or coffin, I guess? At the start of your turn, you'll have a hand of cards that tell you how fit and fresh your vampire happens to be feeling at the moment. Initially, your vampire will be brimming with energy, bounding from victim to victim with ease. Gorge yourself too recklessly, and your deck will be clogged with useless cards, indicating the deterioration of your vampire's physical health and their consequent bouts of sluggishness. Pushing your vampire to the limits of their physical capabilities without shoving them beyond them and timing your feeding frenzies just right is instrumental in achieving success. While its design can feel a bit cluttered, The Hunger presents a take on deck building that is just fun. It's dripping with Halloween theme, it creates funny moments, and I'd recommend it as a title to check out this season. Demons stalk the silent streets of a remote hamlet. Panic-stricken, the local folk struggle to determine who among them is an evil entity posing as a well-mannered citizen and execute them. If the peasants unmask and string up the malefactors in time, they will save their community. If they fail, they are doomed. In a game of Blood on the Clock Tower, you and your friends will each take on roles you'll perform in a desperate story of deception, misinformation, and unshackled depravity. Most of you will be humble townsfolk, merchants and laborers who wish to live in peace. One of you will be a demon, an unholy agent of chaos and despair. A select few will be minions of the demon, meant to act as its lackeys, and the final among you will be the storyteller, who is meant to facilitate the entire experience. Every game begins with all players arranging themselves into a circle, then the storyteller passing around a bag. Each player pulls from the bag a chip that informs them of their identity for the game. Each identity carries with it a parcel of information that the player is meant to receive. You might be the washerwoman, for example, who knows that one of 2 other players is an innocent townsfolk. If you're a minion of the demon or the demon itself, you're given information to help you conceal your true identity or play your part as its odious servant. After everyone knows what they're supposed to be and has received their information, the game enters a series of day and night rounds. During the day, people chat openly about their suspicions and may nominate players for execution. At night, after the day's execution, the storyteller secretly reveals additional information to select people, information that will flavor the next round of daytime conversations. If the demon reduces the town's population to 2 people, it wins. If the townsfolk find and destroy the demon, they win. So it's werewolf, you might say. And no, not exactly. It's meaner. It's harder. Under the full moon, humans turn into werewolves. Werewolves turn into blood on the clock tower. If that kind of situation sounds fun to you, and you think your groups of friends will love that idea, Blood on the Clock Tower is definitely for you. Set a date in advance, invite them to dress up, make snacks available, put some eerie music on in the background, maybe host a watch night of the Crucible a couple of days before to get everybody in the mood. Blood on the Clock Tower will reward every bit of effort that you put into it with a Halloween experience that will be 100% unforgettable. Games of it tend to go pretty quickly, so you'll likely have time for multiple rounds, and it'll be awesome. If you decide to host it, be sure to do all of the prep work in advance to ensure a smooth session. You'll thank yourself later. If all of that sounds like a bit too much direct human interaction and lying for you, feel free to pass on Blood on the Clock Tower. If you're detecting some hesitancy in my inclusion of it on this list, you're not wrong. Blood on the Clock Tower is a tricky game for me to recommend, just because so much of the experience relies on the relationships between the participants, and it requires a significant amount of preparation ahead of time by the storyteller. I mentioned a caveat at the beginning of this video. This is the caveat. But that aside, I can say confidently that if the people in your life like lying, in games, of course, and don't mind being lied to, and enjoy talking and role play, Blood on the Clock Tower will deliver. And there you have it, 4 games to haunt your home this Halloween season. Are there games you love to bust out at Halloween time in your household? Are there Halloween games out there that you think are overhyped? Are there any titles you think I should have mentioned in this video? What is your most memorable Halloween board gaming experience? Share them with me in the comments. I'd love to hear about them. Oh my gosh, it is nighttime outside. I started filming this 6 hours ago. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye. Happy Halloween.
Oh, you'll rise up from the sea. Oh, kill everyone but me. Everyone but me.